Lions fans, get ready, because today we have exclusive news about the Lions team on its way to great victories, and you can't miss a single detail. So take advantage and subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Our commitment is to always bring you the latest updates, so stay tuned for this news that has just arrived. Thanks for the like, let's go. During his 7 seasons wearing the Lions jersey, Darius Slay was much more than just a good cornerback. He was a terror for any number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. When fantasy analysts talked about a Slay run, it was the ultimate warning that this receiver was simply going to disappear from the game. From 2017 to 2019, Slay was a constant presence in the Pro Bowl, making it clear that he was part of the elite at the position. Even so, in March 2020, the Lions management decided to send him to the Eagles in exchange for 2 draft picks, a decision that at first glance seemed questionable. But that time has turned into a resounding mistake. Today, this deal is widely considered one of the worst in recent years for the franchise, an open wound that continues to bother any Lions fan with even a hint of memory. Then general manager Bob Quinn received only a 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick from the Eagles. With the first, the Lions ended up bringing in guard Jonah Jackson, a good player, even considered for the Pro Bowl in 2021. While the other pick turned into wide receiver Quintez Cephus, who barely had time to stand out before leaving Detroit. Neither of them ended up signing a contract extension with the franchise. In contrast, Slay became a regular starter on the Eagles' defense, played 73 regular season games, was called to the Pro Bowl 3 more times, and to make the bitter taste of this story worse, lifted the Lombardi Trophy last February. Meanwhile, the Lions watched from afar, remembering that they didn't even make it to the Super Bowl with Slay, or without him. The contrast couldn't be more painful. We traded a solid defensive leader for prospects who are no longer on there at the roster. But if Bob Quinn's decision seems catastrophic, it becomes even more outrageous when we find out what was behind the trade. Shortly after being traded, Slay went on the air on the Mitch Albom show in Detroit and publicly revealed the reason for his departure. According to him, the relationship with then-coach Matt Patricia, nicknamed Matty P, was unsustainable. I had no respect for him as a person, Slay said, before detailing how Patricia constantly belittled him. He told me I wasn't elite. He told me I was nothing compared to guys like Richard Sherman or Aqib Talib. These types of statements show a completely toxic environment where one of the best players on the roster was undervalued internally. Patricia, instead of elevating the talent he had in his hands, preferred to verbally demean him. And this behavior came at a high price. The Lions lost not only an elite player, but also the trust of the locker room. And here is the truth that can no longer be ignored. Matt Patricia was the main person responsible for this disastrous negotiation. Quinn, the general manager, signed the papers, but nothing was done without the coach's approval. Together, they formed a duo known pejoratively as Quintricia. It was 3 years marked by controversial decisions, questionable draft picks, and a complete disconnect with the players. The Slay case is the greatest example of this. While other coaches built rosters around their stars, Patricia chose to burn bridges with them. And when Slay, who clearly deserved a new contract and respect, asked to leave, the board preferred to cater to the coach's bruised ego rather than preserve the talent on the field. This is not just a management mistake. It is a lesson in how not to manage an NFL franchise. Ultimately, this story serves as a timeless warning to the Lions. Talent needs to be recognized, valued, and above all, respected. Since Slay left, the franchise has had to rebuild its entire secondary and is only now beginning to reap the rewards of this new phase. What hurts the most is knowing that if the internal environment had been different, Slay could be leading the Lions' defense in this new chapter, with Dan Campbell at the helm and a culture completely opposite to Patricia's. Ultimately, the blame for the Lions' worst trade in the last decade should not fall solely on Bob Quinn. The name that needs to be remembered, discussed, and never forgotten is Matt Patricia, the man who pushed one of the greatest defensive talents in recent Lions history out of town, amid the profound shock caused by the announcement of the retirement of center Frank Ragnow, one of the emotional and technical pillars of this Lions offensive line. The Detroit team continues to move important pieces off the field. Even with the impact of this news, the NFL's machinery does not stop, and the board has already made another strategic change to the roster, a move in the secondary that could have significant effects during training camp. Cornerback Gavin Holmes, who had arrived as a UDFA, undrafted free agent, was officially released. In his place, the team signed Devad Wilson, a player who arrives with interesting experience and a recent history in the NFL, having played for franchises such as the Arizona Cardinals and New York Giants. Devad Wilson, although not selected in the 2023 draft, built a very respectable college career. He passed through two strong programs, Georgia and Central Florida, accumulating solid numbers and showing defensive consistency that put him on the radar of several teams. In total, he had 152 tackles, 6 interceptions, and 1 sack in his career in college football. In the NFL, his performance is still timid but promising. Last season, Wilson took the field 5 times, splitting those games between the Giants and the Cardinals. He recorded 5 tackles, 4 of them solo, all for the New York team. He started the year on the Cardinals practice squad and ended up being released by the Giants in December. Now, he gets a new chance to prove his worth in Detroit, in a cornerback squad that is clearly undergoing a restructuring. On the other side of this movement, Gavin Holmes is saying goodbye to the Lions after a brief stint. Coming from the University of Texas, he didn't have numbers that caught the eye in a convincing way. He recorded 14 tackles in the 2024 season with no interceptions and only 3 passes defended. Although Holmes has shown flashes of potential, especially in training, the competition for the position is fierce, and the Lions seem to be betting on players with more experience and versatility at the moment. This change demonstrates how valuable each roster spot is and how decisions need to be made quickly and strategically during this preparation phase. Wilson now joins a completely renewed cornerback group for the 2025 season. Rookies Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw are confirmed as high-impact prospects, and they are joined by veterans with proven experience, such as DJ Reed, formerly of the New York Jets, and Rock Ya-Sin, who also brings an important physical and technical presence to the sector. With this new group, the Lions show that they have learned from past mistakes and are reinforcing one of the team's most critical areas in recent seasons: aerial coverage. The expectation is that the defense, especially the secondary, will be more aggressive, more intelligent, and more cohesive. The team is entering the final stretch of OTAs, organized team activities, with the last practices of this phase taking place from Wednesday to Friday. After that, the players will have a summer break before returning for training camp, which starts earlier this year, due to the Lions' participation in the traditional Hall of Fame game scheduled for July 31st. This will give the team national exposure and also a faster start to preparation, which could be an important difference in building the season. This addition of Devad Wilson may seem discreet now, but as always in the NFL, it is these basic pieces of the roster that sometimes become protagonists when it matters most. Now I want to know from you, do you think Devad Wilson can really fight for a spot on the Lions' final roster? Or is this just a one-off move that should end up without major impacts down the road? In my opinion, Wilson does have potential. He comes with good college experience, showed flashes of talent with the Giants, and with the Lions defense undergoing a makeover, he could end up surprising a lot of people. But of course, everything will depend on how he does in training camp, and he arrives with the clock ticking. So, what do you think? Comment below. I read everything, and I always like to exchange ideas with you in the comments. Don't forget to leave a like, because this really helps the channel to continue growing and bringing news about the Lions until the next video.